Good afternoon, team. Bringing it back to you from the Pensacola Refurb Center. Today, this is a two-part video. I want to talk about a couple different things. First thing is the PPE. I want to ensure that you guys received everything. Again, you got a face mask. You got some hand sanitizer, in case you didn't know how that works. Again, I like to utilize this as I go into a location and as I come out of a location. Don't know if the science supports this. However, I do like to clean my phone. I clean my phone every day. I do suggest that each of you do the same. Also, the nitrile gloves, it's very important. And also, make sure you got some good eyewear. We're also going to talk about jobber notes. We're going to visualize going through a work order. We're going to talk about how to put in the notes properly, how to put in the attachments properly. I want you to stay tuned through the whole video. It's going to be a two-part. This is the second video of this series. We're going to start some new series coming up. You're going to start getting some more in-depth training videos as we go along, talking about various topics. One thing that I want to promote right at the moment, and this is something that is very passionate to me, is really just representation. As a company as a whole, all successful companies have good representation. So what does that mean? What does that look like? When you do good work, you get noticed. The future stars of companies that are built, they're always part of that high potential. Everybody's got potential. We all have potential. So what I like to see is, hey, why don't we make a difference? Why don't we do something a little bit different? We've started some new initiatives. We're working on our brand. We're working on our company. Getting through this COVID-19 situation has been part of the challenge, and really the cream rises to the top. Whenever we talk about employees and employee success, it really is very, very determined on your mindset. And so how do we do that? How do we do that? How do we get there? How do we make that happen? We consistently improve our communication. We demonstrate that we are committed to growth and success. We focus on our teams. We focus on our team success. If our guys are doing well and we're showing them the proper steps, then naturally we're all going to benefit from that. Know your numbers. Take ownership of your work. Do what you say you will do, and make sure you do it well. Those are very simple. It's very simple. So I encourage everyone to take those to heart. Think about those. Think about how we can be better teammates and better team members. And I always suggest, if there's anything I can do, please bring it to me. I want to know that. All right, team. So the second part of this video are these jobber instructions. And what I'm going to do right now is go through the complete tutorial as if I was walking into a job, uploading the information, putting the notes in the proper place, starting and stopping my timer. The timesheet, we all have pretty well grasped the concept of the timesheet, how to clock in, how to clock out. I'm not really going to go too far in depth with that, but we know what it looks like. So this is a snapshot of my phone. Here's my schedule for the day. This is a demo job for tutorial purposes. So let's say I arrived at this job. Now I open it. Before I get out of the truck, I'm going to start my timer. And I'm also going to go down here and I'm going to see what kind of notes are already in my job. A lot of times you may find notes, you may find different information. Then I'm going to click on the job tab. I'm going to open that job work order. Then I'm going to look down here and see what additional information may be available. So this might be some very important information for you to see before you walk in, especially if you haven't been to this location yet. It's always a great information tool. So for this particular location, what we have here is basically a receipt, as in we stopped, we picked up a part, we got a packing slip, and we got a receipt attached to it, and we also have a part. So these all need to be put in notes. It's very important that we take a picture of the receipt of any parts that we received, picked up, and we put these in the notes as in we picked these up. So I'm going to take a picture of these real quick. I'm going to click on my notes tab. I'm going to click on my new note, add attachment, camera. Take a picture. Okay. And we're going to wait for it to download. And I'm going to link this note to the invoice. I like for customers to see these. Now we're going to take another picture of the part that we replaced. It's always good to have a picture of the old part, picture of the new part. Now this is taking a little bit longer to download because I'm on Wi-Fi out in the warehouse. It's not a very good signal out here. Okay, now we save. Now, periodically, when we take these notes, sometimes it doesn't save. I think that's kind of a glitch with the system. We can always reach out to Jean and just verify that it did save. She can look at it from the administrative side, be able to determine. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to open that job back up. Okay, so this is the information that we all are looking at. If you look at the notes, you'll see there that my pictures are linked. I'm going to go into the line items. You see here in the notes, and this line item has a preloaded date stamp with my initials. So each work order that you guys go to, you should have the same information. And so what we do here, it's very simple. We click edit. Now I can type into that note. So what we're going to say is, and we're going to give a very detailed description. Number one, because this is the note the customers will actually have on their invoice. It's very important that we use good ledger, that this is accurate, and we put in facts. So for demonstration purposes, we're going to say we arrived at this location and we found the ice machine to be on a 3-beep code. Upon startup and code reset, we found no water. After verifying that we do have water coming from the actual wall valve, we are not getting water through the water inlet valve. So on this particular work order, we're actually going to test the water valve. We're going to make sure that we are getting power going to the water inlet valve when it calls for water to verify that this is bad. For the sake of demonstration purposes, I'm not going to put all that information in. However, it's important that we do, that we are showing our work, that we do show that we correctly did diagnose this. Obviously in this valve too, you want to check that screen, make sure there's nothing clogging in there. All right, so we have this note. It's in the proper line item. It's in the proper place. Again, with the timestamp, informational initials. Now we're going to save that. So now, if we're looking at this, this is what that customer is going to see. This translates directly over to their invoice. Now, some of the problems that we're having is we're putting our notes in this note section. This is for internal notes. It's not a bad idea to put internal notes. However, the customer does not see these notes. And it's important that the customer that sees these notes sees them accurately and correctly. So if we want to have a note put in here for future reference of, hey, when we get back to this location, I want to include a new panel, or I want to include a new whip or some additional item, then we're going to put that note in here, and all we do is simply type it in and we save it. Okay, so going back to my line items, now here we are. We're at the point to where we can collect the signature. We're going to say, hey, we completed this job, this big green button. All right, we're going to get that customer signature. With the COVID-19 practices, we have been authorized to have a authorized, agreed to permission to have a signature done by us. So basically stating we get the customer's approval to say, hey, can I sign for you? They say yes. We go ahead and sign it. We save it, and then include it in our notes. Okay, so very simple process. Now that concludes our jobber notes introduction. It's really important that we get these in the proper place, that we have proper documentation. We like to see, again, the part, like to see the old part, the new part. We like to see the pick ticket. We also like to see the receipt, so we can add all these together. If this part is not in our system for line items, now we have all the correct information to be able to add that in and do it properly, so that the next time that this comes up and we click on a line item to complete this invoice, then it's going to auto-populate this part, and it's extremely important. So now we're done there. We got the signature. We're ready to complete the job. We're back in our van. We're going to get on to the next job. We're going to stop our timer, and then we're going to mark complete. When you see this populate, you can just go ahead and exit out. This is all done from the office standpoint still right at the moment. If we are on a location that did agree to pay us on site, then we can utilize that function and take a credit card. We can take a check right then and there. So on the OTSD side, we can utilize that function right there to collect payment. All right, so now that shows that our job is completed, and we would move on to our next job. So that concludes our jobber training for today. Thank you, team.